So the front of the Maxi van is pretty much complete. We've got fiberglassing in a few areas and a few little standoffs to make so we can secure the bumper and wings, but I want to move onto the back. Now the rear portion of this van is undoubtedly going to be the hardest part. The rear arches are nowhere near fitting. These vans are longer than the standard Renault 5s, so the skirts need cutting and extending, and the rear bumper needs cutting and pulling in to suit the arch. The first place to start is going to be marking a centre line of the wheel and marking a centre line of the arch. Then we can get the exact location where the arch needs to sit and start marking it up, ready for some cutting. So my first point of cutting is going to be this front section. The excess on the vents is making it kick out further than it needs to be. What we'll then start to work on is making this a straight line. You can see where it curves in at the back, and that was to hug the Mark 1 shells. We can mark a straight line off that. It's not going to affect the rear portion, it'll look nice. I'm hoping that once we get this in place and the bumper up, the bumper will slide in and just curve round nicely. As you can see there, it has brought it in massively. Not perfect, but better than what it was. Now, that gives us a better idea of where the back needs to sit. I've centraled the arch up to the wheel, and this top section sits off 70mm due to this rear portion, what's supposed to curve around the Gordini body. Once we take 70mm off there, it pulls that in, and this section up here will be touching the van. Then we can get a straight line and mark a straight line right down there. We need to make a few more cuts first, and then we can start mocking the arch up for a final fitment. Let's show you what we've done. Put the arch back onto the van, lined it up. As you can see, we've got a little trim mark to do along there and along there, and we've got quite a substantial one to do at the back here. The reason for that is I need to make this a straight line all down along there to suit the van. Luckily, the kit has got a little bit of excess along there, so my idea is to put riv nuts, and then I can fix from the inside so it can pull it tight against the van. We can put some riv nuts on the inside, fire a bolt through, and it'll look nice on the inside as well. So, gonna get cutting. Wish me luck. The rear arch is almost there. There's still a bit more cutting, but we have got a straight line. Now, in the previous clip, you'd have seen me measuring, and what I am measuring is this bodyline portion here. From the rear of the van, it looks like the arch kicks out slightly, and it does. It's because this is 130 and this is 145 up there. So the plan now is to just carry on that curve line right up to the top there to bring it in, because that might reduce even more to around 125. Then I'll mark 125 up from there and run a straight line all the way down. My worry is that I'm going to cut off too much of the excess on the inside. If I'm being honest, I would prefer to keep as much as that one on as possible. Let's show you from the rear. She gonna be a girthy girl. Now, I'll put a picture on screen of an AI rendering. I did get a lot of comments originally saying I should stretch the rear arch. Now, if I was keeping the front arches the same size as it was coming from factory, that'd have been no problem, but I've taken around 6 inches off the front arches. So to then stretch the rear arches, it'd have looked way out of proportion. I may as well have done a 6-wheel conversion in the back if that was the case. I won't be stretching the rear arches. I'm gonna need to stretch the rear bumper out to suit the rear arch, but in length, the rear bumper will suit fine. Side skirts are going to need cutting and extending as well, which we knew, but I want to get these arches in the right place and bolted on before I start the rear bumper. So after that extra bit of trimming, when we pull that in, that is a nice line down the van now. The only issue I've got now is the arch is still kicking out of the back. Let me get a tape measure to show you what I mean. So the arch rolls up, and to the point where it comes square, we are running around 170 to the outside of the arch. If we go to the back portion, we are running nearly 200 mil. So that needs to come in another 25 mil in my eyes to make it 170 in the rear. I don't really want to be adjusting the top of the arch because that is a nice perfect line. It's still got plenty of excess on it, so I can get my riv nuts in, so then I can fix it on the inside of the van. There is this lower portion. Now this lower portion is what I think is causing it to kick out. This will be vented in here so the wind will pass through. It's not going to vent to anything because I'm not a rear engine yet. So I'm thinking about taking 15 mil first off the back side to see whether we can pull it in, and then see whether the top needs trimming or it is this lower portion that allows it to pull in. Now a word from our video sponsor. So if you like me, buy, sell, swap, drive a lot of cars, you want to know the full history on them vehicles before pulling the money out your pocket. That's where Vehicle Score comes in. You can type your car's reg and it gives you all the information. I'm talking MOTs passed or failed, full history check for $12.99, age of the car, engine size, fuel type, mileage, is there any mileage discrepancies. It's a one-stop shop to find out if there's any missed or dodgy information on a car you're looking to purchase. So if you're looking to buy a car without getting done over in the process, make sure you check out Vehicle Score. So in the last clip, you would have seen me messing about with the rear fender. Now, there was a few things that I weren't happy with. The rear arch as it sits now is central to the wheel. It suits the body line pretty well. We're gonna have to be doing a bit of fiberglass in here and there. My main issue now is how am I gonna get the rear bumper to work? So as you can see here, the rear bumper is way off. This curve on the 5 normally comes round and ties into a back piece along the boot. Now, I've had ideas of cutting and extending this to the rear. I've had ideas of cutting this portion and extending the curve round. I've had ideas of cutting this a little bit further in and doing an extension piece to suit the wheel. Now I think all of it is gonna look wrong. I don't know if you know Aidan Sanderson. He is a good mate of mine. I've known him now, must be coming up to 4 years. He's also a French nut. So I sent him pictures of the rear and I said, what do you think? Because the whole idea of this van came from a conversation with him. I said, we've got an issue. This is the issue. And he said, nah, I don't think that's an issue. And I was thinking, what is he on about here? He said, why don't you go for time attack styling? So leave the arch as it is, perfect. Cuts off where the bumper would. Once you have your fat tyre on there to bring it out, you can then have canards at the back of the wheel and just run a standard van bumper so it's that cut back look and run a diffuser. And I thought, why did I not think of that? Friends are a beautiful thing. When you get a different set of eyes on a problem, they always have different solutions, and Aidan has come in clutch here. That said, if I'm gonna go time attack styling in the back, I need to go time attack styling in the front. Now, I love my DTM era cars, so I've had a package turn up today, only a small one, but it'll proper make the van. So let's go and unbox that. We got some DTM styling mirrors. We've even got the blue tint on the side, but these bad boys with the roundness of the arch and the roundness of these are gonna look mega. Let's go and test fit them on the van. Let's have a butcher's at that. You get the first look. Oh, baby. That. Woo! I don't know if you can see it from there, but that is literally the perfect width. Oh, yes. That is what we're talking about, ladies and gents. It's just these little details that make the van. Now, I've been getting a little bit of stick, what's new, about the van and the way I'm taking the direction. So obviously it is a maxi kit. We are putting the Turbo 2 maxi kit on the van. There were a few complaints about not using all original parts. Now, I knew this kit wasn't going to be easy. I knew that there was going to have to be some changes, and I'm making it work with what I've got. The kit was never going to fit perfectly. There was always going to have to be some chopping and changing to make it fit the van. This is my build. I'm going to carry on with the direction that I'm going, and I'm going to make it work, whether you like it or not. Now, let's jump back into getting the rear quarter fixed on. So I've done myself a little tester spot. My biggest worry was, because this is square and then this runs in, I didn't want to drill a hole, and then when I put the M16 riv nut in, I didn't have enough gap underneath to make it sit flush, and it would have been hitting the inside of the fender. This is perfect. It's secure. I can't see it popping out. I think what it's done, it's filled the hole rather than looping on the other side, but it is solid. So what I'm going to do is put a few in there so it spreads the fixing points rather than having stress at the front and having stress at the back. We can pull it all in, and then once this is done, I will seal the underside of these so they've got a bit of extra strength. This isn't going to be molded to the van. I want this to be a bolt-on, bolt-off fender, so I will be running a weather seal just along this edge here, along with the side skirts. We can get a piece of duct tape, transfer these markings onto the van, drill a couple of holes. This is the first look at the rear arch without any supports holding it on. Look at how fat that is gonna look. So, worked well, that marking up tool. I've oversized the hole slightly. I think I went for an 8mm for the M6. Can't remember off the top of my head, either an 8 or 10mm, and they've lined up pretty well. It's a bit dark in here, so I'm hoping you can see, but you can see where it's lined up. There's a few that need to be oversized again. One of them is a 6mm, which is way too small, so I can't get it in the nut, but look at that fitment down there. Once we've got a weather strip on there, it'll just hook over there. So it'll appear, stop it from chattering, and it'll look mega. The process now is to going to get this bottom part fixed in. As you can see, when I push that in, we've got a little body gap, only around 10mm. Nothing that fiberglass can't fix. But as I pull this in, if you can see the arch line there, when I push that in slightly, it pulls it in. So I'm still not happy with where it bulges out there. This is pretty flexible. Now that means I have a bit more to play with here. I'm going to take another 10mm off in hopes that it just brings it in. What I don't want to lose is this angle. I don't want this angle to come square. I'm trying to keep this arch line square. At the moment it is kicking out slightly, so I'm hoping with the 10mm that we take off here, it just brings it in slightly. It's been a long process getting it to fit, but I think with the time attack styling that we're going to go for, it's going to set it off from the rest. I'll put some pictures on screen again, but I couldn't help but think that the finished product of the van was slightly lacking something. Because the van is taller than the 5, it's longer than the 5, I needed to make it up somewhere, and I think with that aggressive styling, it's going to look mint. I am a happy boy, mate. This rear is going to look stupid. let's show you where we're at. Ooh-wee. Check that. So, it's hard to tell on camera, but that arch in the back is now pretty much level with the front. The arch previous was sticking out way too far. It was too disproportionate. I'm trying to make things even here. And if we come to the front there, you can see that little gap there, a bit of fiberglass needed, nothing too crazy. Now, the back is where we had the issue. Ooh, look at that. Imagine when that wheel is out here. Now, I have some trim pieces to go on at the bottom of the van to suit the boot lid, and then I'm picking up a van rear bumper because rather than cutting the one down that I have and trying to extend it forward to the arch, the van one's come that far out. We are getting there, ladies and gents. Let's get these trim pieces cut, put onto the van, maybe even throw the rear lights on so we can get a better picture of what the rear end is going to look like. Let's address the elephant in the room. I have trimmed the beard. No, the lights are in. I mean, this makes such a massive difference to the space. You can actually see what I'm doing now. You can see me. There's none of that green tint. And then we've gone ahead and put some on the workbench as well. Now, these are like little spotlights that I can angle, which is good for highlighting certain areas of desk that I'm going to work on, but mega in here. So the last clip you would have seen was me putting the trim on the rear. So that rear trim portion has been put on. As you can see where it comes in, it's just a nice little line. Again, we'll have a weather strip just round there to stop the two pairs chattering, but it's just tying that back end in more and more. I have then gone ahead and repeated the process on the opposite side for the rear arch. Woo-wee! Now this is exactly the same as what I've done on the other side. Trimmed it to suit the van body, created a straight line, riv nuts on the inside, and it's just fixed all the way down there. We've got some brackets that need going on before the bumper goes on. We've got a couple of issues with that though. One, the bolts are slightly rusty on the end, so they need cleaning. And two, there's paint in these holes. Now, I've got a, is it tappet kit or whatever they're called, and it's basically a set of threads where you can drill a hole and re-tap a hole if you've stripped the threads on the inside. I stripped a water pump bleed nipple on the old engine and that needed re-tapping, so I've got these. Luckily, I've got a size that fits this original thread, so all I'm going to do is clean it out with that. So the rear portion of the van at the moment is massively lacking. If you can imagine a rear diffuser down there, some canards, some nice 10Js popping out, filling the arch. Where do we go for a rear spoiler? I'm thinking a 1500mm spoiler brings the end pieces about 50 to 100mm out. Now when you do look down When you look down the side of the van, it's not going to be the same width as the arch because I think that'll look too stupid with how far the arches come out. They come out about 140. So if we had a little bit of a section coming out 50 mil, just about there, it would look nice. Now that spoiler is going to be angled up very slightly but running in line with the roof. Being a van, a brick, I can't make it more aerodynamic. The one thing that I do want to focus on is downforce. The front of the van is having an engine swap that's 100 kg heavier than on top of what's already in the van. That paired with removing everything from the back, it's making the van very uneven. I'm going to have a cage in the back, the fire suppression is going to be in the back and the battery is going to be in the back, but there's not much more I can put in the back to even that weight out. Plus, I don't want to make it too heavy. So if I can get some real good downforce in the back of a wing, that would be perfect. The rear of the van is pretty much complete. There's a few tabs here and there that need adding on to secure the rear wings, but it's pretty much there. The side skirts are going to need cutting and extending, but we're going to save that for the next video. The next van update is, fingers crossed, going to be the aero. I'm talking front splitter, maybe cut quarters with these canards that I've seen. Cutting and extending the skirts along with some extra skirt extensions, a rear diffuser, and then the canards in the back. The van is coming on leaps and bounds. I wasn't expecting to be in this position so soon. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that is supporting the build. It's not without its haters, but that was always going to be the case. It does look a bit funky now. That is because everything is in white, different colours, whatever. Once everything is the same colour, it'll blend in much more perfect. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.